Words of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says an absolute faith and trust in the grace is, in the last analysis, the supreme wisdom. With my love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the All India Magazine of September 2008. Topic: This one may keep all one's life and always. Our Divine Mother says, if one has within him faith in the divine grace, that the divine grace is watching over him, and that no matter what happens, the divine grace is there watching over him. This one may keep all one's life and always, and with this one can pass through all dangers, face all difficulties, and nothing stirs, for you have the faith and the divine grace is with you.
Traverse the soundless corridors of his mind, bringing her rhythmic sense of hidden things. All vision gathered into a single ray, as when the eyes stare at an invisible point, till through the intensity of one luminous spot, an apocalypse of world of images enters into the kingdom of the seer.
Our Divine Mother says it is an infinitely stronger, more conscious, more lasting force which does not depend upon the conditions of your physical build, does not depend upon anything except the divine grace alone, and hence it leans on the truth and nothing can shake it. Next topic: faith is a gift given to us by the divine. Our Divine Mother says faith is a certitude. Faith is a certitude which is not necessarily based on experience and knowledge. A faith based on material proofs is not faith, it is a bargaining. Faith is a spontaneous knowledge in the psychic. Faith is confidence in the divine and the unshakable certitude of the divine's victory. Faith is the surest guide in the darkest days. In the ignorance and darkness of the beginning, faith is the most direct expression of the divine power which comes to fight and conquer. Our Divine Mother says faith is certainly a gift given to us by the divine grace. It is like a door suddenly opening upon an eternal truth through which we can see it, almost touch it, says our Divine Mother. Next topic: add to faith a complete trust. Our Divine Mother says another word which seems more limited but is for me more important because it is a question of experience. If you have faith is if your faith is not made of a complete trust in the divine, well, you may very easily remain under the impression that you have faith and yet be losing all trust in the divine power or divine goodness or the trust the divine has in you. These are the three stumbling blocks. Those who have what they call an unshakable faith in the divine and say, it is the divine who is doing everything, who can do everything, all that happens in me, in others, everywhere is the work of the divine and the divine alone. If they follow this with some kind of logic, after some time they will blame the divine for all the most terrible wrongs which take place in the world and make of him a real demon, cruel and frightful if they have no trust.
Walked by time in the dust and crannies of his mountain roof, mid old forsaken dreams of hastening mind, and buried remnants of forgotten space.
Our Divine Mother continues to say, or again, they do have faith but tell themselves, well, I have faith in the divine, but this world, I see quite well what it's like. First of all, I suffer so much, don't I? I am very unhappy, far more unhappy than all my neighbors, for one is always far more unhappy than all one's neighbors. I am very unhappy, and truly life is cruel to me. But then the divine is divine. He is all goodness, all generosity, all harmony. So, how is it that I am so unhappy? He must be powerless. Otherwise, being so good, how could he let me suffer so much? This is the second stumbling block, says our Divine Mother. And our Divine Mother says, and the third, there are people who have what may be called a warped and excessive modesty or humility, and who tell themselves, surely the divine has thrown me out. I am good for nothing. He can do nothing with me. The only thing for me is to give up the game, for he finds me unworthy of him. So, unless one adds to faith a total and complete trust in the divine grace, there will be difficulties. So, both are necessary. Our Divine Mother says the most important condition is an almost childlike trust, the candid trust of a child who is sure that it will come, who doesn't ask for himself about it, who doesn't even ask himself about it, what he needs, who doesn't even ask himself about it. When he needs something, he is sure that it is going to come. Well, it is this kind of trust. This indeed is the most important condition. Our Divine Mother says, well, when one aspires for the force, when one asks the divine for help, if one asks with unshakable certitude that it will come, that it is impossible that it won't, then it is sure to come. It is this kind, yes, this is truly an inner opening, this trustfulness. And some people are constantly in this state. When there is something to be received, they are always there to receive it. There are others.
Between summit and abyss, she joined the distant ends, the viewless deep.
Our Divine Mother says, there are others when there is something to have a force descends. They are always absent. They are always closed at that moment, while those who have this childlike trust are always there at the right time. Our Divine Mother says, it is with the contradictions and doubts of the mind that one spoils everything. With this kind of notion which comes when one is in difficulties, oh, it is impossible, I shall never manage it. And if it is going to be aggravated, if this conditions I am in which I do not want is going to go still worse if I continue to slide down farther and farther, if like that, and one builds a wall between oneself and the force one wants to receive. A Divine Mother says, first, faith does not put any questions, does not think of the results. It gives itself entirely, it gives itself, and then that's all. It is something that absorbs one completely. The other may be grafted upon it. Confidence says, yes, I shall participate, realize what I want to realize. I will surely take part in this work. The other one has faith in the divine, that it is the divine who is all and can do all and does all, and who is the only real existence, and one gives oneself entirely to this faith, to the divine. That's all.
Finding soft and sanctuary of prophetic speech, and sat upon the tripod seat of mind. All was made wide above, all lit below. In darkness core, she dug out wells of life. On the undiscovered depths, imposed the form, lent a vibrant cry to the unuttered vast.
Our Divine Mother continues to say, one has faith in the existence of the divine and gives oneself, and they can also be grafted upon this trust that this relation one has with the divine, this faith one has in the divine, will work in such a way that all that happens to him, whatever it may be, all that happens to him will not only be an expression of the divine will, that of course is understood, but also the best that could happen, that nothing better could have happened to him, since it is the divine who is doing it for him. This attitude is not necessarily a part of faith, for faith does not question anything. It does not ask what the consequence of its self-giving will be. It gives itself, and that's all. While confidence can come and say, that's what the result will be. And this is an absolute fact. That is, the moment one gives entirely oneself to the divine without calculating, in a total faith, without bargaining of any kind, one gives oneself, and then, come what may, That does not concern me. I just give myself. Automatically, it will always be for you in all circumstances, at every moment, the best that will happen. Not the way you conceive of it. Naturally, thought knows nothing, but in reality, well, there is a part of the being which can become aware of this and have this confidence. This is something added on to faith which gives it more strength, a strength of total acceptance and the best utilization of all that happens. These are the words of our Divine Mother.
A genius heightened in his body's cell that knew the meaning of his fated work. Taken to the mark of accomplished power beyond the life's arc in spirit's immensity. Apart he lived in his mind's solitude, a demigod shaping the lives of men. One soul's ambition lifted up the race. He drew the energies that transmute an age.